All right, welcome to the Woolly Hour. Today we got Militiam. All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
How y'all doing? Chris Driggers, Scott Wilson, and I guess everybody knows Harold Smith. I mean, seems like they do anyway, but. So what y'all got going on?
Well, we're in the process of recording our debut EP here at Fat Frog, and got about five. Well, we started with 5 tracks, and it's turned into kind of 6. We decided to split one into 2 parts. So, but that's what we're working on.
Well, that's always fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Be able to get 2 for 1 there.
Happy accidents.
So you play guitar, right?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
great. Bass player.
Yep.
Yeah. Driggers. That's awesome, man. So what do you like what is the influences that you have for creating the music you got now?
We play music that we want to. I mean, we're playing music that we want to hear. We are writing music that, in the styles, and we wear our influences on our sleeve. Like you can listen to our stuff and tell, well, these guys are into that or whatever. We do have a unique spin on it, but I mean, I love good chunky riffs, and so most of the riffs are good and chunky. And
I've heard a couple of little tidbits here and there. I mean, but it's thick. I mean, it's a super thick sound. So how are you actually achieving that right there?
it's twofold. One of the things the tunings that we use, I play specifically 7 and 8 strings, so I'm tune the 7s to drop A, and the 8 I'm tuning to drop E, and then Driggs is playing the Callium Leviathan over there.
That's a
Beast.
yeah.
And it's slammed a whole step down.
Right.
So it's like sub EADGC.
So
Yeah. Normally it would be, F sharp, B, E, A, D.
Right.
But
So the tuning coupled with also, I'm old school rhythm guitar metal guy. I started playing because of Hetfield and James Hetfield from Metallica. For those of you who may not know who that is, he is notorious for.
Was he from around here?
But he is notorious for laying multiple tracks, and this is the
Just
first
layering and layering.
right, and that gives it that wall of almost like an orchestra. It's thick. It's just thick, and this is the first opportunity I've had to actually quad track all the rhythms. So,
Right.
what?
see the dreams was awake. Yeah,
So-
you're right.
I think that's, but I think that's contributed a lot to the thickness.
Right.
We've got them panned out in a stereo field, so it's like a wall of guitars coming at you.
Right. Is this y'all's first time playing together, or have you been in bands together before?
We've crossed paths over the decades.
Right.
Yeah. I ain't gonna say years, I'm gonna say decades.
It's
Well-
decades.
Yeah, ever since like 89, 90,
Yeah.
we've been around each other. And I
Right.
ran into Harold when Callus was formed in 2002. So
Right.
And actually, before that, Driggs tried out as guitar for a guitar position in the first band I was in, and this was in the late 90s.
Wow.
yeah,
And
Wow. Do you still play guitar?
I can. I just ever since I was 14 years old, I've always been a bass player. so,
Right. Well. Yeah.
and then Harold and I had a run in a band called 6 and 20
right.
for about 4 or 5 years.
What
Give
year
or
was
take, yeah.
6 and 20? What?
2000,
Because I remember the band very much so, but I
2009 to 2011 or 12, I think.
Yeah.
did y'all play with any big acts with that
Yeah,
band?
we play with tons.
We were fortunate enough to get the opportunity. We played with the Independents, Straight Line Stitch, Trivium, Nonpoint, The Gracious Few, Hailstorm. That was like the biggest show we got to play at. That one was. I mean, we got to play.
What was that like? If you don't mind.
It was awesome. I mean, it was weird. I mean, we walked out on stage and people were cheering just because it was sold out. They didn't even know who we were, but they were just like...
That was one of the first shows Brad played with us, too, I think.
Yeah, Brad, he's in Nile now. He plays bass and sings in Nile, but he was in 6 and 20 for a good while. And we did some touring together.
Right.
Brad was in a band called Red Heron, and
Good stuff.
6 and 20 and Red Heron went on a tour together because we couldn't afford to tour separately, so we toured together. So we just split the cost, and that's how we met Brad.
Splitting burgers and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, road life.
Yeah, so that ended up him coming in to jamming with us, and then, over time stuff, it was fun. Right. But 6 and 20 went really hard for that amount of time, so it seemed like we were together for a lot longer, but
played a lot of shows.
Do you really enjoy playing that kind of music out live? I mean,
just
playing your original stuff, and I mean, did you always get a good feel from the crowds and stuff? I mean, seems to me like people are coming to see music when they come see, when they coming to see a live band, that they're there for the music, so that makes a big difference than,
Well, it's always gratifying when you get up there and see people moving to what you're up there doing. And also, like the first time we played out and we actually had people singing words back to us is like it's like a cool thing too.
Yes,
6 and 20 was kind of a weird band because we were we would either be the heaviest band or the lightest band.
Yeah.
So we would either the bands would be like, we're not heavy enough, and they would just be standing there just looking at us, or we would be the heaviest band and they would just be going crazy. So, but when these guys needed a drummer, the original idea was they had a drummer, and there was going to be 2 drummers. I was going to be the percussionist, and they already had a drummer, and then that fell through. And
when you say percussionist like that, I mean, you
kind of like
what would the setup be for something like that?
I mean, the idea I had, of course, was birthed by bands like Slipknot. I had the idea to set up like a percussion thing using odd stuff that I could play over the top of him playing drum beats that would be unique and kind of tribal sounding.
Would it be more drums or more like bells and blocks and
probably both?
Well, we were flirting with the idea of including some electronic stuff too.
Yeah, also that and
just throw some percussive accents into spots in the songs.
And also my idea was like there's a band that we all like called Chimera that has a guy that does all that, and also he runs the visual stuff behind them. So that was my idea too originally.
Yeah.
But that fell through, and I ended up playing drums, and then we needed a singer. So Todd Holford is in Legba with Driggs and I. So he was like, man, I'd love to come see what I could do without having to play guitar and just be able to sing. So we gave him an opportunity, and that's where we're at now.
Yeah. So Todd, has he wrote any lyrics or anything yet? Do y'all have anything?
Oh yeah, he's in the process.
He's finished one song, and he's written for the other songs.
It's amazing.
Todd Holford.
We got lucky.
He's amazing singer.
Yeah.
I mean, really, and the Legba stuff. I've really enjoyed what I've heard from the Legba.
Yeah, I'm still new to Legba, and I've been a fan of them ever since they first started everything. But as far as like trying to play their stuff, it opened up a lot of doors for me.
I bet
as far as like rethinking how I play bass.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah.
And,
Fretless.
That's coming soon too. I'm fixing
they
to
have
dive into the
keyboards and
fretless
some
world.
stuff, right?
We do. Correct? We have keyboards in just about everything now. Originally,
are you trying to fill? I mean, y'all don't have keyboards now, right?
We don't have a keyboard player when we play live. We would have to hire one. That's what we would have to do, and have a guy. But on the albums, we use keyboards throughout a lot of times to make it thicker, and give it more element to it. But with Driggs, with his playing, sometimes the sub notes and the slow playing you know, we battle that. That's hard during recording and things like that.
Yeah.
But
well, that's the good thing about the Fat Frog here is everything I've heard so far come out here has just been very clear, and
Yeah,
you know,
amazing.
you can really hear all the lows, and you can really hear everything.
yeah, I really like the way his bass sounds.
So low and growly.
Yeah, it's
You
got
know,
a growl
just-
to it. It's got a really unique.
Yeah.
It cuts through, and I don't know. It's just that's why I asked him to play on another project I'm doing just because of that.
Yeah.
I was like, man, we got to get this guy with this bass on that recording because
Yeah.
it just sounds so
A
good.
lot of that's got to do with me and the engineer Alan. Like, you know, we're both on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
I mean, still though, it don't matter. Anybody else could pick up that bass, and it's just the way that you play and the way that you attack that thing. That to
Nobody-
me is really cool. You have a
Yeah,
great
that's
style of bass
something
playing, man. It's,
I don't think
worked
I
on
can
that
play it.
for.
I
It's taking a long time
I
to
wouldn't
get to
want to
where
have
I'm
to
at.
tackle it. I'm just.
I think it's
telling
too
you,
big for me to play.
Yeah.
It's only, yeah, well, you
Yeah,
know, like
it's
a
big.
standard bass, your garden average bass, like a P bass or a
Yeah.
jazz bass, which most people
Yeah.
will be familiar with. You
Right.
know, those are 34-inch scale from the nut to the bridge.
Right.
Okay, this bass is 40 to 37. At the lowest, it's 40 inches
Right.
on the biggest string, and then down
Yeah.
the highest, it's 37
So-
inches.
The biggest
So that's-
cable, things
Yeah.
like that bigger.
And the F sharp string, I think, is like a .170 something.
Right. Now, let me
Gauge.
ask you a question on this. Do you have a preference on pick or fingers? Do you use both? Do you use one or the other? I mean, you know, that's kind of a lot of bass players are.
To
Just-
quote Dallas, one of the original members from Nile
Right.
back in the day, he said a long time ago, "A hammer is a hammer,"
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I've always been
Yeah.
went by that philosophy.
God, he's a
I
ripper.
do whatever's best for the song.
Right.
You know, if
Yeah.
it's something that needs like a more light, boomy bass
Yeah.
tone, then I'll use fingers. You know, to
Yeah.
make it be more muted.
Right.
And if I want more attack, I'll usually use a pick.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of pick playing because I don't know why, but it makes the top of my arm muscles sore after a while of playing with a pick,
yeah.
which is weird.
Yeah. Another
But,
muscle
yeah.
memory though that you just have to. You know,
Recording in the studio is
Yeah.
fine because it's not
Yeah.
going to last forever, but playing
Yeah,
live,
sure. Yeah.
you'll rarely
Yeah.
see me with a pick in my hand.
Right.
live.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Who's your favorite bass players? I mean, who do you?
How long you got to be here?
Well,
That's a long list,
I guess
brother.
you-
That's
yeah.
a long
right,
list.
right. Well, I guess take a little break. If y'all got
We'll
a few
get back
more
to that,
minutes,
after
we'll
the
get back
break.
to that question, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about your album and maybe some more of the gear that you're using, if that's okay.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, stick around if you can. The Woolly Hour. Thank you very much. Militiam.
Very cool.
All right. Back with the Woolly Hour. Militiam. Okay, so
What's up?
where did the name come from? I mean, that's
I'll let Scott take this one.
Well, when Driggs and I were talking about getting a project together, I have certain beliefs or whatever, and I consider spiritual warfare to be a big part of life. And I like Latin, so I Googled spiritual warfare and on Google, and Militiam came up, and I then found out after doing some more research that it doesn't mean just spiritual warfare. It's kind of a blanket term for things having to do with warfare. So it's a more accessible term to everyone, not just for people who lean a certain way as far as their faith goes. But I got some friends of mine who had gone through Latin classes and everything, and asked them, if I just used that, would that be the proper use of the word as a name? And it was confirmed, and it is pronounced Militiam. So that is, I got that from Google Translate.
All right.
And from the other guys.
I had to work on it a bit. Yeah.
Well, but also from the people who took the Latin classes and everything. But it's.
I'm still not going to be able to say it right.
Yes.
But it's not. I mean,
Militiam.
You
I
know,
want to say Militiam every time.
Well,
but it being like a blanket term for that, it's not just about physical war. It can be about the war you have with yourself, or the war that you have with daily issues, or the wars that we. I mean, we fight wars every day. So
oh yeah,
some are big, some are
Amen
small.
to
But, everybody. That, and we got a really cool logo too. So out of it.
it is really cool.
Thank you. That's Tim and Akoff from Germany did that for us, and he
really cool.
He did an incredible job.
Yes,
Who is he?
awesome.
He's been doing band logos for a few years now, and he actually does artwork for album covers, and he had T-shirts and things like that. But I'd been friends with him on Facebook, and I sent him a request one day. How much would you charge? And that started the whole process, and that was great. He was a really cool guy. I strongly suggest.
Yeah. How long did it take?
It was a month. I think it was a month.
Yeah,
wow, that's really cool.
Because
It was really quick.
once he started on it, he really
did he draw it, or was it
he drew it, and
he drew a bunch of them.
He did digital workups first, and he was in contact with us the whole time, sending every idea that he had.
super?
So
cool.
yeah, Tim and Akot artwork on Facebook. Look him up. You will not be disappointed. Dude does
Very nice.
incredible work.
Very
Every
nice.
one of them that he sent us was top shelf.
Yeah.
We just happened to land on the one that we picked.
Right.
But we could have picked any of them that he sent us. They were all just
Really
beasts.
cool.
Yeah.
I thought about trying to do the artwork myself, and just being like, well, I'll take a stab at it. But then I thought about it, and I was like, well, really, I don't want it to. My stuff has a distinct look. It kind of looks like
You have
Legba
a
stuff.
style.
So
Absolutely.
I didn't want Militiam to look like Legba or whatever. So I was like, well, let's just look into somebody. And he already had that guy in mind. So
Right on.
dude hooked us up.
That's
It's amazing.
Harold's an incredible visual artist as
thank
well
you.
as musician, and
I agree.
I actually had a scholarship for visual art out of high school, and we've done artwork for our bands in the past and everything, and we were like, you know what? Let's step back and let somebody outside. Let's tell them what the ideas are and what the band is about and everything. Give him some ideas, and that dude just freaking knocked it out of the park. I mean,
Yeah, I'm a big fan
I'll-
of the guys that
I'll
do
send
artwork
a,
like that.
Yeah,
a picture of the logo if y'all want to put it up on the screen or whatever, because
that'd be great.
that dude needs to he needs more work. That dude's
Yeah, he does.
incredible.
Well, how about your, I guess, influences for this album? I mean, what would you be looking? What would somebody be looking for? In this one. I mean, what can they expect to hear?
It's accessible in the fact that I mean, if you like good rhythmic stuff to move to, it's going to be very accessible. I think. Oh, geez. The music is melodic at times. At times, it's brutally heavy. I mean, I know it gets thrown around a lot, but it is as far as some of the heaviest riffs I've ever written. Harold's got some riffs on there that he wrote, and Harold always writes great stuff. Driggs has written. I mean, we all have had a hand in everything.
Right. So it's really a collaboration.
It is.
Really.
It is.
This whole thing kind of started with me and Scott had a conversation years ago about taking like 7 or an 8 string, that low of a tuning, and just doing something that nobody else is really doing with those low of tunings.
Right.
We didn't want to sound like any of the other bands, but like he said, we wear our influences on our sleeves too at the same time.
Right.
But it's like one of our songs is, you could consider it a blues song, and it's on 8 string. I personally have never heard anything like that in my life. And when
Right.
he brought that in on a 8-string in drop E, I just blew my mind. I was like, nobody's doing
Is this
stuff like this.
Is this a
you know.
song that's on?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll
Yes.
be on the EP. Yeah,
Right.
this
Yes.
song. And
If anybody's checked out our Facebook page over the years, like we've posted some of our rehearsal pics and videos, there's actually a video of Todd rehearsing with us, and he's
with that song.
yeah, with that song. So, and like the vocals he just came up with on the spot were just like, geez, man.
That was a good
That's-
day.
Yeah, that was a very good day.
Right on.
And most of the material was written when they came to me, and they came to my house and started to practice.
Wow.
So then we worked through it at practice, you know, and I added some drum beats to it. I just started fresh, and I just wanted it to be, you know, I'm a fan of course, Bonham and stuff like that. So I wanted it to be fat beats with some of the kick drums matching the rhythms without it being too technical.
I'm going to tell you, I don't envy Todd at all. Having to, you know, I mean, you have this canvas that y'all have given him. And it's, you know,
Thank you.
yeah, I mean, it really is. It's some great music. I like it a lot.
Appreciate
but
that.
I can't wait. The one song I have heard with the vocals on it, man, he did a fantastic job on that.
Oh,
Todd
man,
is just
yeah.
really so
Yeah,
good.
my hair
man.
stands up on my arm.
It's
I
really
got cold
great
chills
song.
thinking about it now.
Not only, and one thing I'll say about Todd that a lot of people don't take the time to do, but even with the Legba stuff and everything, if you read the lyrics, the lyrics are really good. They it's not just about whatever. Everything really means something with Todd.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
he
like-
don't mess around.
He doesn't just
Yeah.
write bull off the
Yeah.
top of his head and just like, yeah, that'll sound cool or whatever. He everything means something, and most
Well, he's a
things
no
mean
nonsense kind of guy anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
everything means 2 or 3 things sometimes, but
Right.
but we like that about him.
And that
so.
means a lot to us, especially after the work that we put into. I mean, it's so weird how some of the music has come to be. I had read an interview. I hadn't written any new music in years, actually since 6 and 20. But I had read an interview with Steve Vai years ago, and he had talked about how one of his practice methods was he would sit there with the TV on and turn the sound off and make up a soundtrack to whatever's playing on the TV.
right.
So I started thinking about some of the things that I'm into as far as like, I like reading about cryptids. I like horror stories. I like things like that. And I'm like, well, what if I were to write some music that would kind of like be the background score or that would kind of set a scene and an atmosphere. And that's how Sea Beast came out. That's the working title right now. It may be different by the time we release the EP. But that's how the Sea Beast song came about. And it's like I wanted to tell a story with just music, and the fact that we have somebody as great as Todd coming in, he's going to put vocals over the top. Oh, I mean,
You know, I kind of thought that too on that song because had it in my mind that was an instrumental for some reason. You know, but
that's how it
was
started.
Man,
That is
it
how it
was
started.
Super cool song.
what
I
I've-
love the rhythms on it.
Thank you.
What I've heard him do so far, he was doing kind of like vocalizations over that, but I'm not sure what the finished product will sound like. I know the music sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And
The
I mean-
layered lead section that you got in that, maybe that's what you're calling that. I'm not sure, but man, that's just unique. I really like it a lot, man.
Thank
it's
you,
a
dude.
great sound, really
Thank
is.
you.
Speaking of that, what was you using in the studio, and maybe what was your experience like here at Fat Frog?
Fat Frog has been the most amazing place to work at. It has been so laid back. I've felt completely at home and comfortable here. I would suggest anybody looking to do some recording to come out here and give them a shot and work with
How
Alan.
about guitar sounds? I mean, you know, did you bring your amp or
No,
were
I
you using
didn't. And
plugins?
this is actually the first I've done.
Modern technology.
I've done 3 full albums with 2 different bands. Actually, four full albums with 2 different bands, and this is the first time that I have never used an amp. And I'm completely satisfied with every tone that's come out of this place. It's
Right.
Well, I tried to use an amp on the Alfred Police stuff, and we ended up going with the plugins because the plugins sounded so much better than what I was trying to do there.
When it's so much more manageable too, and it cuts down the time of setting up and having to, move the mic around. Well, maybe it'll sound better if it's 45 degrees angle this way, or
right.
No, I mean, it's
and
all,
you can switch all that on it. I mean, he can do that while he's doing his mixing.
Call up a cabinet impulse, and
I've recorded some stuff before, and it was like, I don't really, he's like, this is the sound we need right here. You need to be playing through this amp, and man, it just changes it so much, and
other than amps, I've been a Schecter player for 20 years now. I've been just about exclusively playing Schecter guitars. I swear by them. I'm about to get a new one actually, but I've got the first year they made the Hellraiser. I've got a C7 Hellraiser, and then I've got a Slimline Series V7. The C7 has EMG 707s. That's before they split them up into where they call them the 81 and 85 set, but it's the 707s. The V has got Seymour Duncan blackouts, and those things are crazy because they pick us up when we're talking.
Wow.
Yeah,
and it actually picked up the click track. Like when I stopped playing at one point, like it picked up the click.
I heard that.
And then I've got a Schecter Omen 8-string. That was the first 8-string I'd ever got. And then I wanted to try multi-scale. Schecter didn't have the length that I wanted in the multi-scale, so I actually ended up getting a Jackson 8-string, and it's a 28 to 26 fan fret.
A lot easier to play than I thought it was going to be. When I looked at that thing, it was like, oh my goodness!
It looks
what kind
crazy.
Of Rubik's cube is this?
Yeah, the fan fret stuff, and that's
works.
why
It does work.
Yeah,
it goes to the natural position of your hand.
Yeah,
actually,
it's crazy.
Yeah. Especially
it takes
on the higher
2 or 3
ones.
days, and you're good to go.
I would even suggest people out there that play just regular 6-string, if you ever get a chance to play just a fan fret 6-string, just the ease.
They are so much easier than you would look and think. They really are.
It took about I'd say it took about a day maybe for me to get used to especially up near the body.
Right.
But and there's a little bit of a reach. But see, I've been playing 7s for so long anyway, and they're a little bit longer in scale length than your regular guitar, so it wasn't that much of a jump as far as the doing like some of the fast runs and things like that.
Well, if you do go play live, what is your rig like? What is your live plan? I mean, what do you?
What I'm planning on doing is I've been using a Boss Katana actually for writing and for practice, and that I got the 212 Mark II 100 watt.
Right.
How does it sound, guys?
It's a powerhouse.
It sounds amazing.
I mean,
It does.
it's like I've not had any complaints out of that thing so far. Now, as far as like having the same thick sound, since as of right now I'm the only guitar player. I've got a Bugera 333 XL Infinium and a Marshall 4x12. So what I want to do is split the signal using a mimic doubler. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yes, absolutely.
But put that in between the two, kick it on and off, so it sounds like a second guitar.
Sure. Yeah.
Coming in live.
Kick it hard.
Kick it in the teeth.
Kick it good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess is there anything else y'all want to try to get across?
Just be patient with us. I mean, everything is tracked.
It's the only thing left to say is, I mean, just because of COVID, it's took us a while to get the debut out. Just cause.
How about merch? Y'all gonna have any kind of?
Oh yeah. We'll have everything. We'll have T-shirts, CDs.
If we don't put that logo on a T-shirt, that's a sin.
And also,
so y'all gonna have a website where we can, sell this stuff at? Or is that?
Well, right now we've just got the Facebook and an Instagram.
But we'll have a Bandcamp, and we'll start off with a Bandcamp. I'm sure we'll do once we get it ready to release. We'll do iTunes and all that kind of stuff with it.
Prime,
and everything. Prime,
Spotify.
Right.
We were wanting to do. Actually, we were just discussing earlier. Wanting to do some kind of little video for one of the songs, maybe for multiple songs. I don't know yet. Maybe we might do something but this definitely won't be our only release. We'll do more. The plan is, and It's just cause of COVID, it's just taking us a little while, you know. And that's just because we don't live in the same town. So, you know, we get together when we can. So,
Yeah.
but we're working on it, and everything's tracked, and we're in the final stages of mixing, and we're working on vocals, and it shouldn't be long at all.
Well, that's great, man. Really is some good music that I've heard so far, and I
Thank
can't
you.
wait for it to come
Appreciate it.
out.
Thank you.
And Militiam, that's a great name. And
Thank you.
I'm proud to have y'all here. Thank you
Glad
very
to be
much for
here, man.
coming.
We're good to know you, man.
If it's any time that y'all can come back again, I'd love to have you back again.
Don't
Oh,
forget
yeah.
to like and
Anytime.
subscribe.
Yeah.
Yes. And from the Fat Frog Studio, the Woolly Island, y'all have a good one.
Peace.